All right, so this is video 4. In this video, we're going to take a look at bringing in our other two image planes and aligning them to the already existing aircraft. Well, I want to bring in my side image next, because to me that's going to be the next most important one. So I'm going to go to my side camera, choose View, Image Plane, Import Image, choose that side image from the folder, and bring it in. Well, first thing I want to do is actually probably bring this up just a little bit. I want my airplane just above the ground plane as I'm working on it. So again, in the center position in the attribute editor, under placement extras, it's X, Y, Z. I want to move this up in the Y axis. That makes that the middle box. I'm going to choose a value of maybe 5. Well, let's actually go about 10. Split the difference. How about 7? That'll give this thing a good position above that ground plane, as if it's hovering there, you know, as if it's flying a bit. So I think this will get it positioned nicely. And let's make sure now that we can actually see the grid plane in front of this image. So I'm going to take my camera, and we are looking along the x-axis right now. To make this recede away from us, I need to go in a negative x direction. So in the X box under center, I'll type, let's say, -10 for this airplane, and we might actually move it back in just a bit. Well, now I've got two image planes in, but one of the problems I need to make sure that I've hammered out is I need to make sure that these airplanes that we see here are the same size. And even though they were roughly the same size in Photoshop, I can't be guaranteed that they're the same size inside of Maya. To do that, I'm going to use an impromptu ruler. My trick is to create a polygon plane, which I'm going to do by going to Create, Polygon Primitives, Plane, or grabbing one from the polygon shelf. By hitting R, the scale tool, using the yellow scale box and scaling it up, I'll hit 5 to enter Smooth Shaded View. I now have a single flat plane. I'm going to choose E, the Rotate tool, and grab the red Rotate circle and tilt it up just a little bit so I know what axis I'm looking in. When I have that selected, I'll go to the channel box, and you can see that my axis is the Rotate X axis. So I'm going to take this from being 77 degrees, which is at an angle, to an exact 90 degrees. And I'm going to get the Move tool by hitting W. And I want to align this aircraft so that it is exactly, or the polygon plane, so it is exactly at the tip of the nose. Sometimes it's actually even easier to see inside of your orthographic view. To produce a ruler for the back of the airplane, I'm going to hit Control D, or go to Edit, Duplicate, and I'll have a second polygon plane, which I can now put right at the back of the tail. So you'll see this is what we roughly have. Now let's examine this, because these planes are set up to work with my master view. These polygon planes, again, don't want to get you confused, are set up to work with my master view image plane, which is this top-down direction. They're scaled perfectly, which tells me that the side view, just by looking at it, is dramatically too small. So I'm going to have this side view selected. Go into the attribute editor, choose the Image Plane 2 tab if it jumps you to the camera, and under width and height, my width and height are both 30 right now. I'm going to guess and check these a little bit higher. Let's try 40 by 40. And that's close, but still not much bigger. Let's try 45 by 45. Well, that might actually work, because we see the nose sticks out a little bit from the front, and the tail doesn't quite make it. Let's try something maybe like 43 by 43 and see what happens if we nudge this back a little bit. Now back, according to my gizmo, is in a negative Z direction. Positive Z points forward, negative Z points backwards. So under the Z box, under the center section of placement extras, I'm going to try -1, And that actually might get us pretty close in proportion. I've got a little bit sticking out the front, a little bit behind. So if I scale this up just a little bit further, maybe 44 by 44, I think we're going to have it. And that's going to be my second image plane. I can select it now, and I only moved this 7 units away previously. I can move this just a little bit further back now. Let's try maybe 30 units off. Oops, that was the y-axis I was speaking about. I wanted to move this. I had it -10. Let's move it -30. Sorry, my mistake. So we will get that pushed back just a little bit. We can delete out our polygon planes by selecting them and deleting them. And now we've got 2 image planes. Well, let's bring in our final one, our front image plane. And we're going to have a lot of work to do with this guy. So we're going to go to Front, View, Image Plane, Import Image, same as before. Choose Front, and choose Open. All my values here aren't exactly 0, so I'm going to again recenter those a little bit just to get it right on. I'm looking along the z-axis. So let's try pushing this back a little bit along the z-axis. And it actually looks like my airplane is pretty close from left to right when I push this back in the z-axis behind the grid. But it might be needing to be nudged over a little bit more to the right to be exactly center on based on what I see here. So in x, let's again try a value of 0.2. See how that works. Might be a little far. 0.15, that looks like it has it. You can see already that my airplane is dramatically too big just by jumping back to the perspective view. Well, let's again create some polygon planes to figure out exactly how much bigger this one accidentally is. So I create a new polygon plane and I scale it up. I hit E for the rotate tool, and I'll just rotate it in a direction. Once I've got that direction oriented, I can go and lock this down numerically from being 87 degrees to an exact 90 degrees. Again, my move tool, hit spacebar to jump to the top view so I can see exactly where this wing is. And I'll put it right at one edge, right on one wing. Hit Control D to duplicate and go to the far wing. Look at that, that airplane is just dramatically too big, that front view. So let's select it. We can go into the front image. These thin blue lines that we see right here and right here might be hard to see on the video, but these thin blue lines actually represent my image planes and are going to allow me to guess and check to choose this correctly. In the attribute editor, again, that's what I jumped to. Attribute editor, image plane 3. Let's try adjusting the width and height. A 44 seemed to work for the last image, so that's going to be my first place to start. And wow, that was actually pretty darn close. A little bit under on one side, a little bit over on the other. You know, if I move this back to 0, or maybe even -0.1, that might actually have it. Looks like the image might actually be drawn slightly off center, to be quite honest. And I'm going to keep it at 0.1 if I just guess and check this a little bit more. The airplane just doesn't look like it was drawn entirely correct here. When in doubt, I do want that to be straight through the center of the middle of the fuselage. If the wing heights are a little bit different or distances are a little bit different, well, I'll just use my front view or top view to sort of gauge against that. Last thing is I want to try and figure out how high I need to move this airplane. And so again, I'm going to make a polygon plane, scale it out, and I'm going to position this one right on the bottom of my aircraft from the side view. And then by selecting this image plane, I can just keep guessing and checking the Y value till it gets to the right height. 2, 4, 6, 7, and 7 might be pretty close. Since that was the same height value that we had for the side view, I think we're going to keep that one. If I take this image and I just move it back along the z-axis now, -30, and delete my polygon plane in the center, I can save my scene and be ready to move on to actually building the aircraft, which is what we'll do in the next video.